We are live on the Bullpen podcast. I'm your host, Chris Krogman. Welcome into this wonderful Wednesday, August 3rd. It is 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Glad you're with us. If you're with us, if you're not and listening later, happy to have you as well. Find me on the Twitter machine at ShyBears1985. My main man, Adam Kunos, is with us as well, dropping all the baseball knowledge you can handle at Kunos19 on Twitter. Go on there, interact, talk to Adam, talk to myself, follow the podcast at The Bullpen Pod on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Like, subscribe, leave comments. Tell us we're ugly or beautiful. We don't really care. We're sponsored by Fanatics. So head on over to Fanatics and grab all your new player jerseys from the trade deadline. We have lots to talk about with the trade deadline. We've been out for a couple of weeks. Adam and I both had some vacations. I was out playing golf in Mesquite, Nevada. That was a lot of fun. Adam had some other ongoings and travelings, family travels and whatnot. So, Adam, how are you tonight?
I am doing fabulous. As you said, we've been out for about 2 weeks. We're happy to be back talking baseball. We had I would say, eventful trade deadline, depending on who you cheer for. Either your team was a clear seller or a clear buyer at the trade deadline. Other stuff's going on. Work's busy. School's busy. Family's doing good. We're all healthy. But yeah, those have been doing good.
Well, that's good, man. Glad to hear it. We did have an eventful trade deadline, a historic trade, went down as the, biggest young name in baseball got moved. And we'll jump into the Juan Soto trade. But first and foremost, we want to remember a legend in the game of baseball. If you've watched baseball for any amount of time, you know who Vin Scully is. Announcer for the Dodgers, passed away at the young age of 94 years old. That was yesterday. Spent 67 seasons as the voice of the Dodgers. Had a lot of cool. Damn it, my son just took my phone. But he had a lot of cool. I took a picture earlier. SNY did a little tribute to him during the Mets game, and they had like all of it, the cool things he did, like announced like 25 World Series, like 10 perfect games, all kinds of cool shit. Vin Scully's been around obviously forever. What do you remember Vin Scully for, Adam, or what are some of the cool moments from his life that stick out?
I mean, obviously, Vince, if you grew up watching a game of baseball, you knew who Vin Scully was. Even if you were not a Dodger fan, you heard him on TV, radio, whatever. You heard his voice throughout baseball. I mean, he's had so many great memorable calls. He called Hank Aaron's record-breaking home run in Atlanta when he broke Babe Ruth's record. And part of the quote that sticks out for me is, "A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol." I mean, if you think about that, back in the 70s, 60s, you had racial tensions going on. It wasn't the best time for our country. If you listen to this podcast, our intro actually opens up with a Vin Scully quote. And I know, Chris, you love this quote. Is it a little roller up along first, behind the bag, here comes the night, and the Mets win it? If you're a Red Sox fan, you hate that call.
Poor Bill Buckner.
I mean, at least he got to go back to Fenway. At least he got some closure when they invited him back to throw out the first pitch. Red Sox fans greeting him with a standing ovation. So a little closure, but I still think it haunts them. It would haunt me.
If they didn't have like 5 World Series in the last 2 decades, they'd still be bitching about Buckner, but they really can't complain anymore.
Yeah. I mean, he called Don Larson's perfect game in the 56 World Series. Kirk Gibson's game-winning home run in the 88 World Series. In a year that's been so improbable, the impossible has happened. I mean, so many iconic calls that he has made. And he just talked baseball. He didn't really talk a lot of stuff, but he talked baseball. He talked about the game. He talked about the atmosphere. He included both teams into his broadcast. I mean, I believe he's been around all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums. Retired officially in 2016 from broadcasting. It's sad. We lost a baseball legend for broadcasting today.
Yeah, iconic.
Iconic, yeah. It's iconic.
Bob Costas was talking about him earlier and saying essentially what you just said, Adam, with he was baseball. He loved the game. He talked about the game so passionately. And, you know, even Bob Costas, who's been a professional sports announcer for years and years, got choked up, you know, talking about Vin Scully. So he will be missed. He was a legend for a long, long time, announcing Dodger games and many other World Series events and baseball events. He's just he's another Harry Carey, man. He's just a legend. So
yeah, and when you think about broadcasters in each league, obviously Vin Scully, Harry Carey come up as your top two for me, at least for baseball. Joe Madden for NFL football games. Can't really think of anyone for basketball. Or for
who?
hockey.
Did you say Joe Madden?
God damn it.
The manager for the Angel, the old manager of the Angels,
Jesus.
the Cubs.
No, John Madden.
Is this a baseball podcast? Or are we just sticking with Joe Madden? Let's go with Joe Madden.
Pretty much, Jesus.
That's okay.
John Madden for the NFL. I honestly, I don't listen to a lot of broadcasts for NBA or NHL, so I can't think of any iconic.
Al Michaels for basketball.
Yeah.
And then Jim Nantz for college basketball, and golf is just, you know, hello friends. I mean, Jim Nantz is that dude. And then probably Joe Buck. I mean, I know people hate Joe Buck, but he's if he wouldn't have gone football, I think Joe Buck would have been an iconic baseball voice for a long time. When he was just baseball, people loved him, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he called at least one LCS game every fall. He was calling the World Series every fall. So if you go back and watch just a montage of game winners for World Series, he's calling pretty much every final call of every game. But yeah, our sympathy goes out to the whole Dodgers organization, the Scully family, everyone who has known him. Our deepest thoughts are with you right now. The Dodgers will be wearing a tribute patch on their jerseys for the rest of the seasons, as they should, to just pay tribute to just a icon of Major League Baseball.
Definitely. All right, Adam. Now that we got that side step out of the way, which God bless Vin Scully, we didn't expect that to happen, obviously. But the trade deadline was yesterday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We had quite a few moves. I don't think there was as much volume as there was last year. Not a lot of big names moved, like a volume amount of big names moved. The biggest deal was the Padres trading was it 5 prospects essentially for Juan Soto and Josh Bell. I don't know who John Bell is. That's probably Joe Madden's cousin. But the Nationals get Luke Voigt, C.J. Abrams, Robert Hassel, James Wood, Mackenzie Gore, and Yarlin Susana. But the Padres now have one of the scariest lineups in all of baseball. They also go out and get Brandon Drury from the Cincinnati Reds. They move Eric Hosmer to the Red Sox for a low-level prospect just to get that contract off their books. The funny thing to me, Adam, about that is that they tried to include him in the trade back to Washington for Soto. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the 10 teams on his no trade list, which, like, how do you not know that? Like, what you just think he wouldn't notice? Hosmer's just like, yeah, okay, I'll just waive it for you guys to bring in this potential future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think good trades overall on both sides. The Padres get absolutely deeper in their lineup with Soto and Bell going to San Diego, and then when you get Tatis Jr., who should eventually be returning to that lineup shortly, that's going to be a very scary lineup from top to bottom, at least on paper. We'll see how he does playing on the West Coast out by San Diego. The Nationals, they've been in full rebuild mode since, I would say, 2020. Since the shortened 2020 season, they've gone full rebuild. They're getting younger. They got contracts playing out with a couple other veterans on the team, but they're going to be a young team here in the next couple of years who could be pretty good. But they're just kind of gearing up for the future. They're loading up on prospects. So, I mean, I would say it's a win for both teams. The Nationals are able to get Soto over to a contender because Nationals were going to be contending in the NL East regardless. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think both teams win this trade?
I mean, the Nationals have no idea what they got. CJ Abrams has been handled very oddly since he's, been called up and only played like 60% of the time, and now I think he's hurt. Mackenzie Gore is a big left-handed pitcher, and he's also hurt, I believe. And then the rest of the guys are unknowns. Luke Voigt obviously is what he is, but that's really a nothing burger when you throw him in there. Honestly, he's just there to play first base probably since they traded Josh Bell in the deal, which that's just shocking that they added him in there. So to see what that Padres lineup is going to look like day in and day out, Soto's batting second tonight. So they also have, Manny Machado and Jake Cronenberg in that lineup. They have Jerickson Profar leading off and just having a hell of a year already. And then, like you said, Adam, they get Tatis Jr. back. So I think the Padres clearly won this trade. And they have Josh Bell in this deal as well. And then you add in Brandon Drury if he gets everyday at bats like he was in Cincinnati. He's having a phenomenal year. But we'll see if they're able to do that with all the talent that's there in San Diego already. To go with that pitching staff, San Diego's going to be dangerous. Here's my question for you, Adam. Do you think they can catch the Dodgers being 12 games back right now?
I mean, nothing is impossible. We've seen leads diminish in baseball. For example, the White Sox had a 15-game lead in 2005. They dropped it down to a half a game over the Indians at the time, still won the division, but they let a huge lead kind of slide. We've seen, I believe the Phillies have given up a huge lead in their division as well, and lose that division lead. We've seen these division leads diminish over a period of August and September just because the team in front, they get complacent. They get, I would say I'm not saying non-competitive. They don't worry about the competition that's behind them when they're just playing average baseball or 500 baseball. You look at a team behind you that's playing 600 or 700 baseball. So the Padres do have a rough schedule coming up. I mean, they got the Dodgers coming up, then they got the Giants, Washington, Miami, Washington. So pretty easy August, and then they got the Dodgers again to kick off September. They play the Dodgers. I think they have, 1, 2, 3, 4 series against the Dodgers to end the year. So they could definitely make up some ground. I don't know if they could catch them, but I think they'll make it a tight race.
Yeah, they have the talent to definitely do it, but the Dodgers went 23-5 in June or in July, when the Padres were just 2 games or 12 or sorry, were just 5 games back, or 2 games back at the beginning of the month, and now they're 10 games back. So yes, they could do it, but I just don't see it. I think I think the lead is too big and that team's too good. It's not like the Dodgers suck. I mean, if they had a rash of injuries, it definitely possible, but it's going to be a big load for them to undertake. But again, Padres can easily make the playoffs. I think they have like a 6-game lead on that first wild card spot, so no issues there in making the playoffs. Let me double check that.
Yeah, I was looking at the Dodgers. July. The only series they lost that month in July was to the Washington Nationals. Every other series, it was either a sweep or a clear series win, 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3, 4-game sweep. So yeah, Dodgers. I think we can say safe bet that the Dodgers will be back in the playoffs. San Diego, as long as they can avoid what happened last year with the late collapse and just kind of falling flat on their face going into the finish line, I think they'll finally get into the playoffs this year with at least a wild card spot. They'll definitely get that top wild, or hopefully get the top wild card spot. They're 6.5 games, 3 games back of Atlanta for that top wild card spot.
Yeah, so yeah, Atlanta's. Well, I don't know if this is including tonight. Atlanta's got a 6.5-game lead over the Phillies and a 3.5-game lead over the Padres for that top spot. But the Padres do have that 3-game lead over the Phillies, who also made a ton of trades, which kind of surprised me that the Phillies went after it. But again, like last year, the Braves went after it, and I was shocked by that. The Phillies added David Robertson, Noah Syndergaard, and outfielder Brandon Marsh to their team. The Braves as well added Robbie Grossman, Ehir Adrianzana from, well, I don't even know how to say it, Adrianzana, and they also got Iglesias from the Angels, the closer from the Angels. And locked up Austin Riley for 10 years. So Braves making moves all over the place, not just at the trade deadline. The Padres also went out and got the best closer in baseball in Josh Hader. He's had a couple of bad weeks, maybe even like a bad month, but they trade Taylor Rogers to Milwaukee along with Trevor Rosenthal and Matt Bush to get Josh Hader. So that's going to be a big deal. The Twins added all kinds of pitching, bullpen depth, and Jorge Lopez, Michael Fulmer, and I think they got Tyler Mahle from the Reds. The Dodgers adding Joey Gallo. I don't understand that. They already have Cody Bellinger. So those guys are essentially the same player. I don't really understand that trade, but it is what it is. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, Sox get Eric Hosmer from the Pods. Yeah. Whit Merrifield dealt from Kansas City to Toronto. That's an interesting deal. We'll see how he fits into that lineup. What are some of the other takeaways from the trade deadline, Adam?
I will say that the White Sox and Guardians had huge swings and misses on the trade deadline. Guardians, the only thing I could find that they did was a minor league swap with Minnesota. White Sox do have some bullpen depth in Jake Dykman from the Red Sox for catcher Reese McGuire, who they acquired over the offseason for they swapped their backup catcher as well. White Sox, I'm going to just touch on the White Sox because this was all true. White Sox were huge losers at the trade deadline, in my opinion. They only had a little bit of bullpen depth. They should have added a bat. I heard that they did make a serious pitch for Shohei Ohtani to the Angels. They were one of 3 teams who did make some serious offers to the Angels for Ohtani. But the Twins got better in the bullpen. I hate to say it, the Twins got better in the back end of their bullpen, and the White Sox kind of stayed complacent. So if the White Sox are serious about making a second-half charge for that division, because their only hope to get in the playoffs is by either the division or somehow getting that third wild card spot. I don't think they can climb any higher than either a third wild card spot or a division title, at least for a Central right now.
Yeah, if they got to have Tony La Russa stop falling asleep in the first inning.
Yeah, I mean, get the man some coffee down there or
Get
something.
him a Red Bull. So,
Red Bull does give you wings, and hopefully, he'll fly out of Chicago if he drinks Red Bull.
maybe he'll leave on his own.
Another thing that kind of interested me was on the north side, there was definitely some chatter about Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras being dealt from the Cubs, but they are still in Cubs uniforms. So David Robinson was the only big name from the Cubs that was dealt. It's kind of surprising that the Cubs hung on to those two players because they were definitely talks that they would be trade pieces to some of the contenders on who would pick up Contreras, who would pick up Happ in the deadline. So maybe they're looking at extending them over the offseason, or maybe they're looking at an offseason deal where teams not looking for more rental, looking for more of a long-term deal with those guys. Because a lot of these trades you think are going to be rentals. At the end of the season, they're probably going to sign free agent deals.
Right.
Like Joey Gallo, I do not see him being on the Dodgers past this season. This is almost like the Pujols pickup they did last year. They brought on Pujols just for an extra bat. He kind of had an okay wrap up to the season last year. But Gallo only hitting 159, 12 home runs, 24 RBIs, 621 OPS, but has struck out 106 times. Not the same player that he was in Texas. Not the same player. He had a horrible experience with the Bronx. Maybe he gets a turnaround in LA. Who knows?
Yeah, he can handle New York, is what it sounds like. We'll see if he can handle LA and the media out there.
I'm about to say, yeah, you go from a New York media to LA media. That's not any better.
Probably not. I think New York media is pretty rough, though. And New York fans, LA Dodger fans are usually a little less intense. As far as the Cubs and Contreras and Happ go, I don't really understand unless they are going to extend them because, I know the Mets were in on Contreras. They were also in on Robertson, but they said that the price on Contreras was just too steep. They didn't want to trade any of their top 5 prospects for him, essentially like you're talking about for a rental player. And the Cubs kind of held their hand too close to their vest, and the Mets stayed strong and didn't just give up whatever the Cubs wanted to, and that probably happened to across the board. The Padres were also in on Contreras. I heard the Rays were in on Contreras as well at some point. So the Cubs might have just dug themselves a hole right here, and they can, obviously talk themselves out of it by saying they're going to sign him in the offseason. But this sounds like another Trevor Story situation where the Rockies didn't trade him last year, and then we got to the offseason, and dude didn't even sign until like after the collective bargaining. Yeah, after the bargaining agreement was signed. So
I think he waited like 2 weeks into spring training to sign too. He was a very late arrival to Red Sox spring training this year.
Yeah, for sure. Mets also made a couple deals. They had added Daniel Vogelback a couple weeks ago. That was, I think, one of the first trades we saw with the Pirates. They sent Colin Holderman over there. And then they made a couple trades during the deadline for Michael Blevins from the Cubs, who already got shelled tonight by the Nationals. So great job there. And then they traded J.D. Davis and a few prospects over to the Giants for Darren Ruff, who's essentially a right-handed version of Daniel Vogelback. So they're clearly going with a two-headed DH monster, one for lefties, one for righties. Both of them have about the same 900 OPS. So we'll see how that works out for the Metropolitans. They also were a little quiet at the deadline for a team that, should be going for it. Biggest deal they made was getting Jake DeGrom back. He threw last night, looked absolutely phenomenal for the first few innings. He did give up a couple hits and a run in the third, but struck out 6, looked ridiculous. hit 102 miles an hour at one point. So as long as he can maintain that, steady mechanics, he'll be good, and we'll see how he feels come tomorrow. But that's the biggest addition the Mets made, was just getting that man back. He's right back there behind me because let's go Mets. But
there you go.
I think Syndergaard to the Phillies is interesting. I think that's a super interesting trade.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on that because he signed a 1-year deal with the Angels in the offseason. Let's see here, 5-8, 3.83 ERA. In 80 innings, he's had 64 strikeouts. His WHIP is 1.21. It's a little bit of a head scratcher for me. I'm not sure if it was just getting him for the help get them to the postseason. Then maybe he goes into the bullpen during the playoffs. If they do make it that far, maybe they use him as a long reliever in the bullpen when usually teams go on to a 4-man rotation.
It's interesting too because his numbers are misleading. He was great in the Angels ballpark, but absolutely awful on the road. So it makes you wonder how a trade affects those kind of splits, right? Is it just because he's at his home ballpark, or is it because he's at home in his apartment or whatever comfortable living conditions he has at home with his family or whatever, or is it just that he's just not good outside of California? We don't know. We'll see. I mean, we obviously have no idea because we don't have much of a track record before this year with Syndergaard, and he has stayed healthy, so good for him. The funny thing is like, I think the 2 times that the Mets had a chance to play him, he skipped his rotation spot. So he's either scared to play the Mets again, or he's just something's weird. Something's
off. I'm looking at the schedule for the Mets. They do have Philadelphia coming up a couple times, 2 series here in August. One at Citi Field and one at Citizens, one in Philly. I wonder if we'll get a DeGrom Syndergaard matchup.
Here we go. DeGrom, Syndergaard, and Scherzer Wheeler would be great. For all Mets, just former Mets and current Mets, and all the Mets you can handle in one 2-game set. There's the Braves and Mets play a doubleheader on Saturday. They have a 5-game series this weekend, which is just crazy.
There's a couple doubleheaders coming up, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, we get into the part of the schedule where we will have some scheduled doubleheaders. So we do have some five-game series coming up here in August and September. So buckle up.
Yeah, you look at the first half of the season, and there's 82 games in 4 months or 5 months, and then somehow they pack 82 games into 3 months on the back half, and that's just I was trying to do the math in my head the other night, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's not enough time left for them to pack all these games in unless we're going well into October. But you forget about all the scheduled doubleheaders and all the BS that goes with that. So we'll see how this second half of the year goes for all teams. It'll be pretty interesting to watch, pretty interesting to follow. Follow the show, listen to the show. We'll have all the updates, tracking all of the series and the current standings. Adam, how do you think this, all of the trade deadline? I mean, who's your biggest? I mean, if the Padres aren't the clear winner of the trade deadline, I don't know who is.
Well, we got one that we didn't talk about. The Rays got David Peralta from the D-backs and Jose Siri from Houston. I think the Rays made a couple of good moves for them. They got some good bats in that lineup now. David Peralta, I think, is a huge splash for Tampa Bay. I know as a Diamondbacks fan as well, if you lived in Arizona, you've seen Peralta play with the Diamondbacks for the last couple of years. He's been pretty much the heart and soul of that team. Unfortunately, Arizona's going nowhere. They haven't been going nowhere for a while, so it's time to send them at least to a contender. So the Rays get some extra bats in that lineup. They've already made impacts. Peralta was part of the game-winning drove in the game-winning run today in the 6th. I had to say the Twins are a winner. The Twins did what they needed. They're holding a 4.5 game lead over the Guardians and the White Sox. I'm sorry, 1 game lead. My apologies. But they did
My
what they needed
goodness,
to.
Adam, get it together.
Hey, math is not my strong subject, so I don't care at this point.
Aren't you in college for that shit?
Yeah, but I got all my math classes done, so that's how
So you forgot about it already? You're like, oh,
Pretty
hey,
much.
I don't need math 101 anymore or math 51 or whatever you took.
No, don't even start on statistics or sports financing. That Jesus. Anyway, but the Twins are a winner for me. They bolstered their bullpen. They did what they needed to at least help that bullpen down the stretch, because you do tap into your bullpen more in the second half when you're in a playoff stretch. And the Central is going to be a very tight division. The Guardians won't be going away. The White Sox are going to try to stay in it at least.
Didn't we there's like 2 other trades that I can think of off the top of my head that I don't think we touched on, and that's, didn't the Braves get Jake Odorizzi from the Astros?
Yes, they did. Let me pull it up. Yeah, they did.
And then the Astros also acquired Trey Mancini from the Orioles, and he's already contributed. He hit a home run today for the Astros. Crazy shit, man. Crazy everywhere. And then fuck, man, did we even talk about Seattle got Luis Castillo? Like,
oh shit, we forgot about that one.
Like, he wasn't even he wasn't during the like trade deadline.
He happened a couple days ago before the deadline even started getting crazier,
getting closer. Yeah, for sure. So they made that's a big one right there. And he's already he got a win for them today. So he made his debut for the Mariners today and got the dub. They won 7-3 or 4 over the Yankees. So that's big. I mean, showing that Seattle can play with the big boys. Obviously, Stanton's been out for the Yankees, and now they don't have Joey Gallo anymore. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean,
it's the injuries that are catching up with them. I think this happened to them last year, where they were playing good, then all of a sudden the injuries that's caught up to them. Injuries are gonna catch up with them. Stanton can't stay healthy. Judge can't stay healthy. Gallo was non-existent in New York.
Aaron Judge has been an alien, though. He has hit, I think, something like 14 home runs in his last 12 games or something like that, or maybe it was 12 home runs in his last 14 games. And this isn't like current. This is a couple days ago statistic, but I think he has like 43 right now or 44. It's just absolutely destroying the baseball. I looked at his like 2-week splits the other day, and his ops was like 2, and I'd never seen that before. And he's inhuman.
All right.
If he's not the runaway MVP, I don't know who is. Don't tell me Ohtani just because he does 2 things. I don't fucking care.
You ready for his last 7 games splits? Over the last 7 games, he's hitting 320, 8 runs, 8 hits. 5 of those are home runs. He's driven in 11 RBIs, walked 8 times, struck out 9, has 1 stolen base. OPS of 485, slugging 960. Jesus Christ! I think if I remember seeing this correctly, he's on pace to get to 60 home runs right now.
Yeah, not surprised. If he's got to break Maris's record for it to be special, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's the Yankee record.
Yeah, the Yankee record. I mean, if he passes Maris let's say he passes Maris in Yankee Stadium in September, that'd just be special, because remember, Maris did it in 154 games. McGuire did it in his 70 in 162. And if you want to watch a good movie about Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, watch 61, directed by Billy Crystal. That's such a good movie, because it takes you into more psychology side of the game, and how much the game was affecting him, how the stress of going after Babe Ruth's record was just eating them. I mean, Roger Maris had so many stress issues. He had a huge leg contusion they had to play through. Maris was dealing with stress, with death threats. I mean, watch 61. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching 61.
And that's our movie tangent for the evening, folks.
And
back to reality and current baseball in 2022, where Aaron Judge is on pace to fucking blast the baseball a ton. So he's a lot of fun to watch. I was watching a Mets Sunday night game on ESPN a few weeks back, and Alonso had done something, probably hit a home run, but he contributed to the win in some way, shape, or form. And so they asked him about Aaron Judge and how he's, compares, and like they always try to trip these dudes up on Sunday Night Baseball, and it just cracks me up because they're like, they don't do it. They don't crack and they don't give the media anything to feed off of. But they asked him specifically about Aaron Judge and like what it's like to compete against him in the city of New York, and he's just like, what? Like, he's just a phenomenal baseball player. Like, it's fun to watch him every day. It's so much fun to have both teams playing so well, and the city's just buzzing, and it's it's just, he's an incredible baseball player. Like, none of these dudes, and especially Pete Alonso, the guy that gave $1 million to charity because he won the home run derby when he only made like $400,000 a year. You're gonna trip that dude up into talking shit about Aaron Judge is just hilarious to me. But Judge they only did an ARB deal with him for next year, so that'll be interesting to see what that looks like long term, to see if he can.
Well, you have to think his deal's gonna be 10 year, couple $100 million.
Yeah, but he's older now too, right? Isn't he like? He's been doing this for a minute. Let's find out how old he is. He is humongous.
Drafted in 2013.
He's 30. So he's 30. He just turned 30 in April of this year. So he's not that old.
I mean, if you're looking at baseball age, he still has a couple of years left in him. I mean, now if you're talking like he was 35, 36.
How old is Albert Pujols? Don't we think he's like maybe 50?
He's a machine. He never ages.
But like the Aaron Judge is an alien, dude.
Well, let's see. You have the machine and you have Judge. I mean,
Judge couldn't stay healthy. But if Judge can find a way to stay healthy in his 30s, he can play at least. He's going to get at least a 5 to 7 year mega deal, in my opinion. 5 for 175-ish, maybe would probably get it done.
Yeah, and I'm looking at his career stats. His career high in home runs is 52 in 2017, so he's definitely on pace to shatter at least his career best in home runs.
For sure. All right, we get sidetracked so easily.
We do.
So Yankees didn't do a ton either. All right, so I'm gonna look back at with the whoa shit. I'm pushing wrong buttons here. So with the current standings, Yankees lead the AL East by 11 games in front of the Blue Jays, who added Merrifield. The Rays are 14 games back. They added Peralta and the kid from the Astros. The Red Sox are 17 games back. They had an interesting trade deadline as well, kind of similar to the Cubs, where they were rumored to potentially move JD Martinez, and they did move Vasquez, the catcher, somewhere. I can't freaking remember where, but for like peanuts.
Yeah, it wasn't a great deal overall.
No, I can't. Where the hell did he go? Can you look up where Christian Vasquez ended up?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
And then you have the Orioles that are 15. So are the Red Sox really in the base? No.
The Red Sox are the basement of the AL East.
Red Sox are in the basement. Yeah, they are a game and a half back of the Orioles. So the other big rumors around the Red Sox were JD Martinez, who didn't get moved, but Xander Bogaerts. My friend of mine that lives in Boston said Boston radio doesn't think that they're going to try to re-sign him. Devers doesn't have a long-term deal yet. There was a really long shot of him getting moved, which I thought was interesting. So Devers will probably get signed this offseason. But Bogaerts, he could be one of the free agent gems this offseason. And if they don't re-sign him and didn't move Bogaerts, they're not in this race anymore. They were for a while, and then they fell apart again. But I don't really understand what Boston's doing. In the AL Central, Twins, we talked about, made a ton of moves. They lead the Guardians by a game, but the White Sox by 2 games. So that is a great race in the AL Central. I don't think the White Sox really did enough. The Guardians are a very interesting team that have been playing extremely well. Maybe they didn't need to do a whole lot, but we'll see. They could everybody could always use more offense.
Mm-hmm.
Tigers are 14 games back. They're going nowhere. They didn't really move too much of their bullpen stuff. They moved Fulmer, but they didn't move Chafin, and they didn't move Gregory Soto. Soto still, I think, has a year of control left, so that makes sense. Royals, they did what they had to. Same old shit with the Royals.
Yeah. Real quick, Christian Vasquez is now in Houston.
Houston.
So here's the deal. He was taking batting practice with the Red Sox as a new surface. I guess he was interviewing with
They were playing each other, right?
They were playing each other, and someone's like, ask him if he was traded to the Astros. He goes, "Yeah, I think so." And this is from Brian McTarget. Says, "How does it feel? It's business." And then Red Sox PR just go, "Nope, come right this way, please," because I guess he got pulled right from that spot, and it's like, "Nope, you have to go to that dugout now."
So they wouldn't let him interview as like a Red Sox anymore. They were like, "Go change jerseys, and then you can come back and talk to him."
If I'm reading this correctly, yes, but I mean, we see this happen all the time where you have teams that are playing each other will make deals, and you get.
I have not seen that. We can't say it happens all the time. That's a stretch.
Well, I'm stretching, but it has happened. I'll have to look up. You have to give me a couple days to look up because I think it happened 2 or 3 years ago.
A couple days? Come on, Mind Trap. You got this. You know what happened.
Yeah, I'm drawing. Hold on. Astros Mariners did a swap last year. Who was it for? Because the Mariners sent someone to Houston because they were just playing them. Crap.
It's in there somewhere, folks. If you're watching YouTube, you saw the light go on. He knows it's in there somewhere.
You saw the smoke coming from my head. New Hampshire, so I'm protesting right now.
Speaking of the Houston Astros, they do lead the AL West by 11 games over the Seattle Mariners. Mariners are making a push, though. There's so many wild card spots that everybody is allowed to be in this year, so that's fun. The Rangers are in third. They didn't do enough to make the Angels. Man, I don't know what's going on with the Angels. They suck, and the A's, they suck too. So your playoff teams are going to come down to the American League East, the wait, hold on. I'm doing something else. The American League East, the West, and the Central, essentially, with the second team in the West. So that's kind of cool. One from every division. The Rays still have a decent chance of making the playoffs. The Guardians are outside looking in right now, but whoever wins that Central is going to be your only Central, maybe your only Central winner. Did you say there's 3 wild card spots? I thought it was 2.
Nope, there are 3 wild card spots. So if you're looking at it right now, you could have 3 teams from the AL East, 2 from the West, and your lone AL Central rep.
I don't like how ESPN's standings are. I tried them out tonight, and I don't like them.
Just look at if you had to lock 2 teams in right now for the playoffs, at least in the American League, I'd say Yankees, Astros are your deadlocks in as your at least your 1-2 seeds. They're playing for the top seed in the American.
Okay, so right now it's Yankees, Minnesota, Houston, and then Toronto, Tampa Bay, and Seattle's 1 game out. Okay. Toronto, Tampa Bay. No, wait.
Toronto, Seattle, Tampa Bay.
Toronto, Seattle, Tampa Bay. Sorry. Man, they put this +1 next to teams that are in, and it just looks fucking goofy.
Yeah, I think it should just be a game behind. Nope. I think the third team should be their 1 game behind or how many games behind, whatever.
It actually makes sense as long as you just know how to read it. I just can't read, so blame me. Yeah, thanks, Adam. Appreciate you, Kunos. Fucking hey. College guy can't do basic statistical math, but he wants to give my English shit. Whatever.
Hey, my English is not the greatest. I'm just gonna flat out say it right now.
Good thing you're employed by like a top 50 company.
And good thing I work at a computer with spell check.
Wait a minute. The computer can check my spelling?
Shocker.
That's
right?
crazy.
Shocker.
Oh my God. I've also heard that you can talk into your phone and it'll dictate your words onto paper.
Oh, jeez, I gotta try this new technology out.
Siri or Cyrus or something. I don't know. Sirius. Anyway, in the National League, the New York Metropolitans lead the Atlanta Braves by 3.5 games in the NL East. Braves are up 6.5 for that first wild card spot. Yes. And Milwaukee leads the Central by 2 games. St. Louis is a half game back of the third wild card spot. This is so fucking hard to read. And then the Dodgers lead the West by 11.5 games. The Padres are 3 games out of we're just going to say of a wild card spot. I'm tired of chasing which one it is. Yeah. And then no, Padres have a 3-game lead in the wild card. Braves have a 6-game lead in the wild card. Philadelphia is right there for that third wild card spot. So is St. Louis. And then San Francisco is 5-game back of the third wild card spot. Jesus Christ, what a shit show. All right, so your National League playoff contenders right now are the Mets, the Braves, the Eagles. Oh my God, I need a nap. The Phillies, the Cardinals, and Brewers are battling for that Central, so we'll see who wins that. San Diego, and I guess the Giants could make a run for that wildcard spot, but they're throwing people away, trading Darren Ruff and shit. Almost traded Rodon.
Jock Pearson was on the chopping block as well.
The guy's a bum.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're listening, we've been off for 2 weeks. Football is just ramping back up. I'm just using that as an excuse.
I appreciate it, Adam, because I feel super stupid right now. I can't. Words are hard.
Words hard, English difficult.
English difficult. So, Adam, with all of that said, let's get into this blistering weekend schedule where we have some great matchups, starting with the Braves at the Mets for a 5-game set like we talked about earlier. Wright Carrasco on game 1. That's tomorrow. Game 2 is Anderson Walker. Game 3, I think, is going to be Scherzer. I don't know if we'll see DeGrom in game 5. That's what they're saying. I don't know, man. We'll see. Because that's what, Wednesday or Tuesday to Sunday? Yeah, I guess it's possible.
I mean, I would honestly give him the extra day rest or the extra game rest just to kind of save his arm, because this is what, his second game pitching back, or third game?
This is his first major league game back. This is his 4th total game. I think he's done 2 AA and 2 AAAs or something like that. So
okay.
So what is that? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it's going to be close. I doubt we see DeGrom this weekend. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they scratch him. Game 3 and 4 matchups, you probably won't get those because both teams get an extra player, so they'll probably do a call up from AAA, bring an extra player up for a doubleheader before they do.
I guess I'm guessing we see Scherzer game 3 and Scherzer game 3 and Bassett game 4, and then man, it'd be electric to see Strider versus DeGrom on Sunday, but I don't think we see DeGrom. We'll see how he feels tomorrow.
I like the Wright Carrasco matchup for game 1. I think that's gonna be a fantastic matchup.
Definitely.
I mean, both you got 10+ game winners. Their ERAs are sub 3 ERA for Wright. Carrasco has a 3.79 ERA, so he's been pitching lights out this year. I mean, you got the top 2 teams in the NL East right now going at it. They're going to be dogfighting the rest of the way down to the last day of September, probably. So this is a good way to kick off a 5-game series, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a phenomenal series. Even if you're not an NL East fan, which like both teams, whether it be preseason this year or at the trade deadline, and the Mets got better. I mean, they weren't in they were in on Soto for as long as they could be. I think they could have offered more than the Padres did, but I think the Nationals didn't want to trade Soto in division, which totally makes sense. But then they didn't want to trade too much for a rental in Contreras. They might have been in on Ohtani. There's no guarantee one way or the other, but the word is that, I mean, Billy Epler used to work for the Angels, so there's no way he didn't call them to at least ask. So, yeah, Mets did what they could. They added a bullpen arm. They added a left-handed bat, a right-handed bat. So we'll see how that works out. Braves did a lot, adding Odorizzi. They think Strider, watching MLB Network the other day, Spencer Strider is a rookie, and he's pitching awesome, but he's going to hit an innings limit at some point. So Jake Odorizzi gives them that sixth starter to work in the mix to kind of either keep Strider, healthy or limit his innings. And then adding Iglesias from the Angels as a second closer behind Jansen or in front of Jansen is going to be kind of what the White Sox tried to do last year with Hendricks and
Krimble.
Thank you. I was going to say that the other
day. I think it didn't work out, but I mean, Krimble is a pure closer. He's a ninth inning pitcher. You move him up one inning, it kind of throws his routine off because everyone has that mindset when you're coming out of the bullpen. You know what inning you're pitching. You know what you're coming in for. When you try to change it up in the middle of the season, it's a struggle.
It's only worked like once, and that was like that 96 or 98 Yankees team with Rivera and Whitlock or whatever, man.
Yeah, when Rivera was starting to come up.
Those two were sick as 8-9 guys. That was just disgusting. Mm-hmm. That shortened games by a ton. But that's a great first series. Second series is Padres Dodgers. This is going to be fucking awesome. I cannot wait to watch this one.
I am looking forward to this series overall. This is one series I will definitely be following just because you got Soto going up against his first true series test is going to be up against the Dodgers. I mean, those lineups.
He's starting tonight. Let's see what he's batting.
I'm talking true series. Like he's who are the Padres playing right now? They're playing the Rockies.
They're playing the Rockies in San Diego.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a good way for him to get his feet wet with the NL West. When you have the Rockies, who do play teams very well in the West, especially when they're at home, they're incredibly difficult to play at home in that stadium. But then you get the Dodgers, who are just running away with the division year after year after year. Well, except last year when they lost it, when they were one game out by the Giants. But no, this is going to be probably the best series of the weekend out of the three we're going to talk about. This will be the best series overall.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball for Game 3, so that should be fun. Pitchers are yet to be announced. Hopefully we get aces at least for one of these games. Both teams have great pitching, so it's not going to be hard to find it. Adam, what is the third series and who we got going?
Third series is another good one. Blue Jays Twins. Obviously, Blue Jays are playing for wild card spot. Twins are fighting for the top spot in the AL Central. Game 1, you got Manoah 11-5, 2.43 ERA versus Gray, who's 6-3 with a 3.41 ERA. Berrios in Game 2 for the Blue Jays, 8-4. ERA just under 5. Twins have yet to announce their Game 2 pitcher. Blue Jays have yet to announce Game 3 and Game 4 starters, but the Twins are going with Bundy in Game 3, 6-5 with a 5.04 ERA, and Chris Archer, who's 2-5 with a 4.05 ERA. I mean, if you look at it now, this I hate to say it, maybe a little too early to call, but this could be a wild card series preview if the standings were to play out. You could see the Twins and Blue Jays meet for a quick wild card series.
Who do you like in this series, Adam?
I like the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are actually playing a little better. And as a Sox fan, I need the Twins. I need whoever's playing the Twins right now just to beat them. So I will break out my Toronto hat for this weekend, give it some good luck, and hopefully the Blue Jays can at least take 3 out of 4 from the Twinkies.
Fresh Canada hat.
Yeah, there's a fresh Canada hat too.
There you go. I also like the Blue Jays. All right, so Braves Mets. I'm gonna go 3-2 Mets. Padres, Dodgers. I'm going to go. Man, I wish we knew who was starting. I don't think it really matters. I'm going to go 2-1 Dodgers. I think they're going to be. I'm sorry, 2-1 Padres. I think they're going to be electrified by Soto. The thing I was talking to my buddy about, though, over the weekend in because the guys I played golf with in Mesquite, they're all from San Diego, so they're all Padres fans. And this didn't happen until after we got back, and the Padres just don't. They just, no matter how talented they are. If you think about last year, man, they were so good, and they just fell flat on their face. I think the Blue Jays and Twins split 2-2.
All right. Let's see. I'll go up to Braves Mets. I'll actually do a 3-2, but I'm going to take the Braves in a 3-2 series win.
You're a jerk. No, I'm just kidding.
Makes
sense. I mean, it's going to be a good series.
I mean, it's hard for me to go one team. I mean, I would say they split 2 games, and for some reason, 1 game gets rained out.
No, we can't. No, no more. No, there's already a doubleheader. We can't, we're going to be last day of the year, and commissioners are going to be triple header, 2 in New York, and then fly down and play 1 in Atlanta. Or something.
Start at 7 o'clock in the morning, have a 1 o'clock game, and then play at 7 o'clock at night. Oh, that's I'll go with you for the second series. I'll go Padres 2-1 as well. Again, I wish I knew who the starting pitchers were for the teams, but I think that Padres lineup is going to have some good offense over the next 2 months. They're just dangerous again. And Blue Jays, I'm taking Blue Jays 3-2 over the Twinkies. Not Blue Jays, Blue Jays.
Blue Jays 3-1.
3-1. I'm getting Blue Jays 3-1 in Minnesota.
In Minnesota. In
the Twin Cities.
Twin Cities.
But I mean, you have 3 good series. Obviously, the big series, like we said, Padres Dodgers. That's how your weekend ends with the Sunday Night Baseball. Padres at Dodgers. I think that's a good way to wrap up at least your first big series of the second half with it could be your 2 best teams in the NL on paper. Obviously not by statistics wise right now, but on paper at least your 2 best teams in the NL.
The Padres and Dodgers?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the top 4 teams in the National League all play each other this weekend. Braves, Mets, Dodgers, Padres.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't the Brewers trading Hader. I mean, I get that they're probably not going to be able to sign him next year, but that is such a fucking give up move in my opinion. Just throw it all away, man. Trade Yelich, trade it all, dude. What the hell are you doing? But Yelich is man, he's so garbage. I can't believe he was an MVP.
He has not been the same coming off those injuries. He has kind of lost that MVP kind of swag that he had when he did win the MVP. I think 2019.
Well, he probably was getting some help from Ryan Braun.
Yeah, 2019 we had an injury when the Brewers lost to the Nationals in that wild card game, and obviously the Nationals just go on to blow their way through the playoffs into a World Series championship. Yeah, he hasn't been the same since his knee injury. He has not had that power swing. He's been a little more slower coming up in the outfield, going on off the bases. Again, knee injuries have a long-lasting effect. They never fully heal. They linger on and on.
Except unless your name is Adrian Peterson. and you just heal however you want. And yes, I'm talking football. I'm excited for football. Like, dude, I'm telling you, man, we are coming in. Like we talked about this earlier, like April and then October are the two best sports months in all of the year. With April, you have the culmination of everything, and with October, you have the beginning of like everything, or and the end of baseball. You got the end of baseball, beginning of football, or second month of football, first month of basketball. This is we're getting close to the best time of the year. Baseball playoffs, baseball pushes are still coming though, so we're gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna keep you guys updated on the standings and all of the goings ons. But until then, it was great to talk to you guys tonight and have an awesome week, and we'll see you next week.
You guys have a good week, and we'll see you next week as well.